David A. Bennett Sr.
Thank you guys. Thank you again for coming out today. Bill said, hey guys, is that good enough? All right, Ken, thank you guys all for coming out today. You know, we all have our lives, and you guys are invited to come out in a couple hours now. And, you know, we appreciate the support, and we thank each and every one of you guys for coming. So, first thing, a question that I get asked all the time is, what is a state constable? Constables are empowered and enforce the criminal and civil laws here in Pennsylvania. One main responsibility is to maintain order at the election polls, making sure that no one is obstructed from voting. Constables carry out the business of the statewide district court system by serving warrants, convictions, judgments, and also transport prisoners. The second question is, who is Eddystone's constable? What does he do? Mr. William Connors is the Eddystone constable. Mr. Connors does what he calls mail out warrants. This means Mr. Connors mails out warrants to violators. If the violator turns him or herself in, Mr. Connors gets paid. If the violator does not turn himself in to the court will use what I call an active constable. An active constable is a constable that will go out and physically pick up a violator and bring him or her to the district court or the county prison. Active constables will transport prisoners from the police department to the county prison. Why is this important to Eddystone? Eddystone now houses their prisoners at Ridley Township Police Department. Each hour that the prisoner is in custody at Ridley Township Police Department, Eddystone Barrow is liable for anything, anything that happens to the prisoner while they're in custody at Ridley Township. It is in Eddystone's best interest to get a prisoner out to the county prison as soon as possible. But unfortunately, like I said earlier, we don't have an active constable here in Eddystone. This means Eddystone needs to rely on another township or another borough constable to do our transports. An active constable will work with the code enforcement and the residents to resolve any violations. But again, we don't have an active constable to support our residents or our code enforcement. Please allow me, for those of you who do not know me, to introduce myself. My name is David Bennett. I have been a resident here of Eddystone for over 10 years. I am married to Catherine, and I have 4 wonderful children. After Catherine completed her master's at Wyoming University, we decided to make Eddystone our home. In 2008, I approached Mr. Connors and I asked him how to become a deputy constable right here in Eddystone. Mr. Connors advised me that it is up to the courts, dependent on the amount of work. While this is partially true, let's face it, Mr. Connors, you're the constable and you don't want anyone else to hold that title like you. In the fall of 2012, I approached Mr. Orr, who at the time was the current mayor, but also the chairman of the Eddystone Republican Party. I expressed my interest in the 2015 election for the constable and advised Mr. Orr that I would be running against Mr. Connors. A few weeks went by, then I was approached by Diane Stewart. Diane Stewart is the committeewoman for the Eddystone Republican Party. Diane told me that the mayor would like you to work for the polls for the 2012 election. With 2012 being such an important election for the Republican Party, I certainly accepted. After the election, Mr. Orr and I went to the Republican Party's headquarters for dinner. Mr. Orr asked me, what do I think about running for council? I expressed to Mr. Orr that I was not interested in running for council, but I was focused on running for state council. Mr. Orr explained to me that if I was going to want the backing of the Eddystone Republican Party, that I would need to run and help the Eddystone endorsed Republican Party. So as all of you may know, I ran in the primary 2000 election for council. The only thing I got out of the 2013 election was to see the kind of people that are running the Eddystone endorsed Republican Party. The night of the 2013 primary election, I approached Dave Patterson, knowing that his term was up in 2015, and I told Mr. Patterson that there was no way I was going to run time under Mr. Orr or the endorsed Republican Party of Eddystone. As you can all see today, I have been endorsed by the Reformed Republican Party of Eddystone. I would like to take this time to personally thank the Reformed Republican Party of Eddystone, my fellow candidates, and most importantly, Mr. William Stover, for allowing me to run with the Reformed Republican Party of Eddystone. I would like to take this opportunity and ask each and every one of you, voters of Eddystone, for your support this election. As a constable, I will work for Eddystone as a full-time state constable. This is not just going to be no title for me. This is not just going to be some part-time job that I get some extra money to sit at home and mail out warrants. Our residents will no longer need to wonder if a criminal comes to our town, commits a crime in our town, doesn't pay the citation, who is going to be the constable that will actively search for the violators? Our residents will no longer need to worry about the liability Eddystone currently takes on while our prisoners wait for another constable to transport them to the county prison. As a full-time active constable, this will be my duties and responsibilities. This will mark the third year that we see what the Reformed Republican Party of Eddystone can do. I must tell you, I enjoyed the bike patrol over this past summer. I like knowing when I go to sleep at night, we have a fully staffed police department serving us here in Eddystone. Most importantly, I like knowing that we have a full-time police chief. We have a recycling program in place that was promised to us. Meanwhile, our taxes did not go up this year. That can only mean we have a council that knows how to get things right. So I stand before all of you today, and I ask you, each and every one of you, for your support and to support the Reformed Republican Party of Eddystone. Thank you. God bless.
At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the incumbent candidate for 4-year council position, Mr. Dave Patterson.